All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome for the first time ever on this program to the Sunny Days in Detroit show, NFC Championship edition. Pavo, how are we feeling? You were there. Tell us all about it. Does this compare to the wild card atmosphere? Was it bigger? Was it more lively?
Oh, it was great. It was awesome. Listen, there's something to the first game in 30 years. First playoff game. Obviously that was special on its own. It's a different thing. I felt that game was experiencing something for the first time. I think fans were nervous going into the first playoff game. They had the Stafford factor, the Kelly Stafford factor. I think you're still trying to put some of your demons in the past. This one had a little bit of a different feeling for me. It was more, this is business. We got to come here. We're the better team. We're expected to win. We want to go to San Francisco. And, but listen, I think you said it, Steve Levy from ESPN. He said it. And I've had this conversation with a few people. It was just as electric. I think the fourth quarter was more electric in this game because when we scored a touchdown to go up 24-17, when they got the ball back, and I think they went out 3 and out, they got one first down, and then they went 3 and out. That place was rocking. Then we scored again. Amon St. Brown touchdown. A lot of people thought it was over. We kick off to them. I think they ran the ball. We stopped them on a short run. Then I think we sacked Baker on a play to make it like 3rd and 15, and he hit Evans on the next play. But that place was rocking. And then obviously we got the ball back. We had to punt to them. Nothing that we wanted to do. I wish we could have still got one first down, so we didn't have to do that. But that place was rocking again until Barnes, your boy, rocking the jersey, made a beautiful play on that interception. And you know what? Listen, I don't think that interception was on Baker Mayfield. Barnes made a phenomenal play on that.
I think a little bit of both. I think obviously Baker, that's a throw he wants back. Barnes made a fantastic play. Like I think it was a little underthrown if we're really going to critique, but
Barnes
made a great play.
I think there was a mistake on that route. I think the tight end ran his route. Goodwin was way too close behind him, which caused a corner to be right behind the tight end, which I think Baker, when he was releasing that, couldn't lead him where he wanted to lead him. Yeah. I think if you go back and watch it, I think Goodwin ran the wrong route on that play.
Well, all I could say is you never feel bad about a win. Like this is amazing. I really like Baker. I loved Baker coming out of college. I think he's kind of been through the ringer in the NFL. So I felt bad for him in that moment. Like in that moment, I was thrilled. It was like more today when I'm watching that replay. I felt for him a little bit because I think he played a phenomenal game. Like him and Mike Evans. Mike Evans the guy's inevitable. This guy, when people talk about the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL, I feel like you almost never hear not that you never hear his name, but like obviously they'll bring up Justin Jefferson and they'll bring up Jamar Chase and all these big name guys. And not that Mike Evans is not a big name guy, but he's a guy that gets forgotten about. And he reminded you yesterday of why he's top 5, maybe even top 3 in the league. That throw, and it was a great throw from Baker, but that led them right. It was like the play before they scored in the third quarter.
1-2 yard. Yeah.
He's like barely looking at that ball. He's looking at it at the corner of his eye, and it looked like to me muscle memory, where he just puts his hands out, and and I think Sutton was covering him 1-on-1 there. Like you couldn't ask for, I don't think you could ask for much more out of Sutton there. He did his job. He's kind of right up Mike Evans' ass. That ball was just thrown perfectly.
Well, he knew how to slow down and then get his body on the other side of Cam Sutton to be able to pick that. Had to go low, slide on the ground.
And to tiptoe the sideline there, know where you are, not step out of bounds, because a lot of guys will make that mistake. He played an impeccable game yesterday. Like Mike Evans, unbelievable. But
he made one major mistake. So
What mistake? He had a drop or two.
The first interception was on him. It went right through his hands, and CJ Gardner.
Oh yeah. I mean,
yeah. I was listening actually on
when you catch for 189, was it 189 or 149? Yeah. When you catch for over 100 yards, score a touchdown, like it's not on that. I know he made a mistake, but hard for me to blame that guy. That guy brought them back into that game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's a good receiver. He has that ability to be able to not keep his eye on the ball, be able to get his head around and know where it's going to be and find it and go get it. No matter if he has to go in the air, if he has to slide, if he has to.
The way he plays almost reminds me a little, and I'm not saying it's the same player, but there are traits of his that we used to see in Calvin Johnson when Calvin would just overpower someone. When you know someone's doing it, the corner's doing everything right, he's locked up on you, and Calvin would just get his hands in front of you and yank that ball. Like, that's Mike Evans. But what did we say? Like, we said it we said it after the Rams game, and we said it in our preview of this game. Let Mike Evans, let him go for over 100 yards. You know, he scored once. It is what it is. Like, you kept, for the most part, everyone else at bay in that as much as you could there. I think people were really looking at this game like people were calling me before the game, you guys should roll them, and I said no, man. Like, the Bucs are a good team, and I know the Eagles looked like dog shit. I accept that.
Dog shit.
They're dog shit. I'll accept that, but you can't. I think this Bucs team looked better than the Rams.
This is a different Bucs team, especially in the last 4 or 5 weeks. Dan Campbell said it. They're kind of an image of us, who we are. They grind. They're well coached. Their defense plays aggressive.
Their defense made our offense earn every yard yesterday.
Yeah,
there was no gimmies. We earned every yard, and I think, listen, if there's any great practice you want before walking into San Francisco, I think that's certainly, like, who does outside of Debo, and I don't know what Debo's status is, and I guess we'll get into more of that with our preview show later this week, but. A lot of those, there's a lot of similarities, I think, between both these teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan said that there's no fracture. It is the same shoulder that he fractured. The same shoulder that he fractured, like, when he missed a couple games. And I think 2 out of 3 games that he missed, they lost to Cleveland and to Minnesota. I believe Minnesota. And they said there's no fracture, but he's in a lot of pain. So I guess it's going to be one of those pain tolerance things. How can he, how will he be able to handle the pain and get mobility? And listen, to my thing, even if he plays, is he going to be able to drop that shoulder when he runs? Is he going to be able to, to bring that, but to bring that factor that he brings in a game that he just yards after catch, he likes contact. He's not afraid of contact. So listen, maybe Lions catch a little break here. And I'll take any break we could get.
That would be a major break because, and I don't know, my buddy Vecino's got the stat. Their record without Debo is like
Brock Purdy too. Like, I saw a statistic, and I don't have it down. I was gonna go try to find it, but I was flying today back from Detroit, and there's a stat that shows Brock Purdy is just numbers without him. Like, he's Brock Purdy's security blanket. And when he has him in the huddle, he feels that much more comfortable.
Yeah.
So, listen, we catch a break. San Fran's going to catch a break. No Jonah Jackson this week. That's pretty much already ready.
And now what's up confirmed. With Frank? Frank's got a sprained ankle.
Yeah, listen, I think
I'm going to assume he's going to play through it. But
yeah, if he could go, he's going to go. There's nothing holding him back here. So, I don't know how it works with swelling, but there's nothing to hold back here. Like, we could rest you a week or two. Good thing is, sometimes guys get rested because you're like, we want them the following week, but you're going to get a 2-week break here anyways for the Super Bowl if you win. So yes, it's going back to yesterday. It was in Baker, and Baker showed that he deserves a contract. And if I'm Tampa Bay, I sign him before free agency stops, because if they don't sign him, someone's going to offer him money, and it's just going to be costing you more money to resign him. If they want to contend next year, and they're the best team in the NFC South, and they have young, talented players, their D-line, they have talent. On offense, they have talent. If you want to compete next year, if you're Tampa right now, sign Baker. He wants to be there. He says he loves Tampa. Sign Mike Evans, and run it back. So you get a second year in the system, the same guys there. Credit to their coach. They're tough. That was a gritty team. And listen, Lions had a few of their chances. They just wouldn't go away. We said it, and I think we nailed it on the show here. As long as Tampa, which I didn't think they were going to be able to, as long as they were able to run the ball, they were going to stay in this game.
Yeah. And they ran it really, really well.
They averaged 7 yards a carry in the first half, and for the game, they averaged like 6.3. White averaged, I think White had,
he looked fantastic.
He did. He
looked fantastic. Gibbs, man. Gibbs had the fucking game of his life. That man looked untouchable. That run, I feel like we're saying this every week with him, where he's got a run that 20 years from now you're going to be showing your kid on a highlight reel. Like, yeah, I was watching this guy live.
Listen, go ahead.
The touchdown run, like that touchdown run. I guess that's a counter. Where he looks like he's going outside, comes back in. First of all,
he ran right to me.
First of all, that was a hole. Once again, you could drive a golf cart through. And credit to the O-line. I don't know if you saw Penei Sewell's run grade yesterday was like a 97.7, highest in PFF history, which is just a testament to who that guy is and what he means to this team. But he gets through to the second. There really was no second level. The linebackers are absent. And it's him and 35. Is that Winfield?
Yeah,
whoever it was. 35 and all-pro on their defense. And about 6 yards out, he just gives him a little juke, and that's all he needed. And it didn't break the guy's ankles, but it slowed him down enough. And that's that speed that we talk about with Jahmyr Gibbs, how he could shoot himself down to second gear and right back into fourth gear at the flip of a switch and just go. I mean, any other runner in the NFL, that is, with a hole that size, that's a 7 to 10 yard gain. Jahmyr took that, whatever it was, 30 yards.
Do you think the Lions shown the guts? Listen, Bijan, we know was first round, right? Everyone's that. But do you think that the running backs will look different going into the draft this year when people are being like, well, the Lions did it and it worked, so no one's gonna rip 100%. Us a new asshole because the 100%. Lions did it. They said this is who we love, and we're gonna go get him.
I think you're gonna see two things right now. Before I get into that, shout out to my brother-in-law Tommy. He was with us yesterday.
Get his shirt off.
No, that was my brother Danny. That was my brother.
How did his shirt come off? What was the story that his shirt?
Danny's shirt's always off. I think someone told him to take his shirt off. I think the Gibbs touchdown, someone said, Danny, take your shirt off. And he just
Was he with you at the Dominican? Was he with you at the Dominican?
He was down in the Dominican Republic too. Yeah.
So he's showing off that tan.
Giants fan. He's on the Lions bandwagon. We appreciate it. We love that. Nope, that was Danny. No, I had said this to you. I think I'd said this to you back in September, or I'd said it on the football show. I said, depending on what Jack Campbell and Jahmyr Gibbs look like in their first year, is going to either solidify what all the critics said, you guys are morons, you shouldn't have done it, you overdrafted, blah, 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 or it's going to make everyone completely throw away the draft process, at least at those two positions, right? Yeah. And it's going to make people reevaluate. And it's what I mean, you hear Campbell talk about it, but you hear Holmes. Holmes is always talking about we do not care about position and value. We're looking for guys that fit here. That's what we're looking for. We heard that when they did nothing at the deadline, when they didn't want Chase Young, right? And that's proving to now we're going to see that up close Sunday, but that's kind of proving to be true, right? He hasn't made a world of a difference in San Francisco. Yeah. They are looking for guys that fit what they do. And
you know what
fit
I think
the mold.
And what I think the NFL needs to change, and it's kind of what the Lions did this year, is Lions had opportunity to draft guys this year once we trade down. They were a little bit of a project guy. First round talent, but you know what? He might not contribute right away. And that's what other teams did. Listen, I live in Philly here. Philly was fucking dancing when they got Nolan Smith in the third round.
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter is good, but he's a shit ass work ethic player. I'll say it over and again. There's a reason he's in Detroit is because you know what? He doesn't work hard. But anyways, going back to Nolan Smith, that's the difference. If you are and listen, maybe I'm just always using Philly as an example because I live in Philly. I hear the radio, I hear the sports talk people talk. I talk to our fans, but you had a job, you had a chance to help your team in the end of the first round and grab Brian Branch, grab a Laporta. And I know there's other great players. There's a DB, there's a DN that played for Tampa yesterday. There's other players, but you went for the project. The guy that's going to sit behind Hassan Reddick for a year or two or three, a Nolan Smith, that maybe is going to turn out to be a good player. And that's where I think the NFL needs to change. Draft guys in the first round that help you right away.
Yeah.
That's what you need, you know?
I think it depends on where you are as a program, right? Because if you look, I think every year is different. So like for example, when Brad Holmes drafted, when was JMO? JMO was last year, right? So Brad Holmes drafted Aiden and JMO in the same year. I think if it were this year, I don't think he would have taken a wide receiver with a torn ACL.
No, and
because there were expectations.
But we haven't gone look at a draft. I'm sure there's probably someone we could find that maybe we shouldn't have drafted JMO. Like, wait, I don't who got drafted after JMO.
I'm not advocating to have not drafted him. What I'm saying is they had the luxury of doing that last year because there were not expectations for 2020.
Yeah.
2022, they were still rebuilding.
Yeah.
So if you could treat 2023 as JMO's rookie year, which is kind of what we did.
Eagles came off of a Super Bowl win. They needed to add. They lost
talent right now.
They lost CJ Gardner. They lost all their linebackers. They lost. Listen, they could have drafted Jake Campbell. And he would have been better after any fucking loser that they had playing at tight end. Cunningham. You saw why right away why linebacker. You saw exactly why Indianapolis let go of Pro Bowl Leonard. He had nothing left. He's done, washed up, gone. You know. So you know when he said he wanted to play for a contender, he needs to learn how to evaluate talent too. But anyways, they should have went after something that could help. Instead, they went after, and they try to get richer at a rich position. And listen to Nolan Smith. He might turn out to be the best D end in football in a year or two. So. I don't think so either. But my point is, you needed to help your team now to win. Anyways, back to the Lions.
We were talking about the draft process. And I think what we've seen out of Gibbs and Campbell, and I think Campbell's come along a little slower, but it's also we have to keep in mind. I have to catch myself because sometimes I get a little upset with Jack Campbell playing. I would say like that is one of outside of quarterback, and maybe corner. Like that is the hardest transition to make to come into the NFL and play a middle linebacker. There are so many things going on at once, and you're expected to do two things that most body types don't allow for: stop the run and cover tight ends. The tight ends playing. I mean, this isn't the Big 10 or the Big 12 or Pac-10. This isn't college tight ends. Where they run a couple of routes. No, man. Guys you got to cover guys like Laporta. You got to cover guys like Kittle that can put you into the dirt on an inline block or blow right past you on an out route and catch a ball for 10 yards.
And how good is Laporta? Like. This
draft, in all seriousness, this draft class, I was thinking about it on my run today. This has to be one of the greatest draft classes we've ever seen by any organization. Like this, look at the names that came out of this, and look at like who's been some of the best players on the Lions this year who are in the NFC Championship. Jahmyr Gibbs, stud, right? Campbell's a bit of a project, playing well. Brian Branch, guy's got 2 pick sixes on the year. He's out. He got a sack yesterday. I think he had a.
You know what the problem about Brian Branch is, and this is like a good problem. But going by the draft guys, 2 guys are up for offensive rookie of the year. Gibbs and Laporta. I
don't think either one of them is going to win. I think it's going to be
CJ Stroud's going to win. And you know what? That's just that's how the NFL is with quarterbacks. And all that, he led in the playoffs. So, that doesn't matter. But we have 2 out of 3. But you know why Brian Branch is not nominated? Because no one goes at him. People just stay away from him. They don't want to be by him because he's going to either nail you for a tackle loss. They purposely avoid you. If you're playing up as a linebacker, if you're blitzing, he just does everything right. Really quickly, though, because you're a New York guy. Did you see the front page of the New York Post sports section?
So that wasn't what was available. Yeah, no, that's online. that's in certain parts of New York, but like in the city and on Long Island, it was a different cover, and the Lions just had a little thing on top because I was
But look at
going.
that. The real America's team, lovable Lions, just one win from
Yeah,
the
did you
Super
see
Bowl.
our story? This was the
Yeah,
this is the one with the link on it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'm getting
Oh,
this
you did
framed.
put it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, see, it's they're my phone was going off from the second people from all across the country, fans that I've been from going to games in Kansas City and San Diego. Someone was messaging me. Someone in Philly people all over Philly were messaging me. Everyone's just so happy for the Lions. They're likable. They're lovable. They have everything going for them. Like, how do you not like them? If you like them, you just got a problem with Detroit. It's a great story.
Oh, there's someone on New York radio that is heavy rooting against them, and it sucks because one of my guys, it's a fucking big Mets guy, Evan Roberts, said he doesn't want to see the Lions win because he doesn't want to see another like poor fan base like happy, which is such a shitty, like negative, awful.
So,
take.
like, what he's trying to say is, like, I'm just you know what? I'm going to compare this to like another story. This has nothing to do about sports. So, what's this guy's name?
Evan Roberts.
Okay, Evan Roberts. You're a shitty person. So, why you're a shitty person? You just randomly decide that you want people you're rooting against people to not be happy. Now, you can come up with any reason you want. You could come up with a reason and say, you know what? You thought the Lions robbed you when we traded you Matt Noakes in the 80s, a catcher. Like, you could say any other reason of why you don't want Detroit to win, but just to root against the people of Detroit. You know, I'm going to compare this story really quickly to someone randomly, a hair story, was telling me, hey, I want you, I got a friend of mine. He has long hair. He's a guy. He's beautiful hair. He wants to donate his hair. And this girl kept telling me, he's the greatest person. He's such a good guy. And then she's like, to me, she's like, why? She's like, where should he donate his hair? I'm like, listen, we cut it. We'll put it in ponytails. They could donate whatever. She goes, well, do you have a recommendation? I'm like, wigs for kids. I'm like, they make kids for kids with cancer. She's like, oh, he hates kids. He won't want to donate there. I'm like, why? She's like, he just hates kids. I'm like, well, then he's not the greatest person in the world. Like, you keep telling me how great this guy is. I'm like, tell you the truth. I told her, tell you the truth. I probably won't like him, so I don't even want him to come into me. Like, so what's this guy's name? Steve what?
Who, Stevie Matt?
Mets guy? No, it's Mets guy.
Oh, no. Evan
The radio
Roberts.
guy. Evan Roberts. Like,
yeah.
Why the fuck are you? What do you mean? Like a miserable? What do you call us?
No, he didn't want to see another. I have the quote here from my brother-in-law Tommy. Let's go, Tommy. He said, "I never want to see that fan base happy."
Why?
I don't know. I was gonna call in today after work.
You're a Mets, so like, what if the Tigers Mets don't have a history? Who's this hockey team?
Islanders. Yeah, Islanders. Red Wings have no history.
Right, no history.
I don't know. Listen, it's a shit take.
Are you mad about Brock Wright burning you on that play? On that
yeah, I know. He's a Jets fan too, so
yeah. Like, I mean, you pissed
it's
off
a
Brock?
shit take, but I think that's the minority. I think first of all, I think Hard Knocks did wonders for the Lions.
Yeah,
like it really did.
Yeah.
I got a lot of people that didn't know any of these guys like talking about them. I got a lot of people that had a lot of shit to say about Dan Campbell, kind of seeing like, oh, all right, this guy's not a meathead. Like, there's a method to the madness. I understand what he's doing. I totally get it. And I mean, three years ago today, man, like the amount of so yesterday was the anniversary of when they hired Dan Campbell. And after they hired Dan Campbell, I got back into my car after work that day with about 25 messages from people just shitting on me. You guys are a disaster. Can't believe you hired this guy, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward to yesterday, the 3-year anniversary of that date. Yep. The Lions are going to the NFC Championship. I came back to my phone, 35 unread texts and like 4 missed calls from people. I apologize to Pat. I think Pat called me, and I was just going nuts. But like that just goes to show, like, you really can't judge a guy by his introductory press conference, but just the credit from the top down. I mean, we
but
talked
you
about
want it,
Sheila,
but every word you take from his press conference, it's what he's doing to teams. It's who they are. Yeah. Like, they play with grit. They play Brad Holmes said it most perfect, like after the Rams game. He goes, we have to go to dark places to shape who we are now as a team.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. They went dark. Everything Dan Campbell said, like, I still remember, I believe after the 3-13-1 season, and we finished that season. We started season 0-10-1. We finished the season 3-3. But he said it. He goes, how did he say it? He said, listen, we want to get to the Caribbeans. We're heading that way to the islands and feeling good. Right now we're in Antarctica, in the Arctic Ocean on our boat, but we're heading that way. And it's like, he just has a way of, he knows where he's been all along, where the team is, how they're progressing. And you know what? And you're seeing it come now. You're seeing with these stories the Lions are leaking, the messages he had to say to the team before the season started. We're going to face adversity. We're going to have tough times. We're going to have stretches where we don't play well. Making them turn around, look at the wall, see the one playoff win in 50 plus years, last playoff home game, 30 years, no division titles. He called everything out and he believed in that team. He told them, this group of men is special. They built that team and they built them on grit, and they're gritty. And you know what? If I'm San Francisco, and I'm not saying this as a Lions fan, if I was just not a fan and I knew what I knew about the Lions, I know what I know about San Francisco, I would not want to be playing Detroit right now because they're not scared coming into San Francisco. They're not intimidated. They don't care. And if you let them stick around this game and don't make the Lions lose confidence, San Fran, you're not winning this game. You're not going to win this game.
No. I think it's going to be the ultimate test. I mean, we've said it before, San Fran really doesn't have a lot of depth, but their starters are studs. Mm-hmm. I think pound for pound, I would say their 11 against our 11, I think they've got more talent. That doesn't mean they're a better team, but I think from a talent standpoint, they're a little more talented than we are. This is going to be probably our toughest test we've seen since maybe that Cowboys game on December 30th, right? And before that, the Ravens game. So, I don't want to count chickens before they hatch, but I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this. It's a tremendous litmus test, and I think if you go into San Francisco, and like I said, I don't want to tip so much because we're going to talk about this Thursday and Friday, but if you go into San Francisco and you beat them, you almost feel like we could play with anybody.
Listen, I think they can play with anyone right now. Like this is one game. This is football. This isn't best of 7 basketball. The more talented team wins. I don't care if San Fran. Listen, the only reason San Fran's more talented than us right now is because they've done it longer than us.
Yeah.
Right. If the Lions win this game, people are obviously going to be like, all the analysts, national people, are going to be like, it's the same thing. No one talked about the Denver Nuggets last year. They didn't think they had multiple superstars until a couple players played superstars in the finals. And all of a sudden now, wow, well, they did it with 3 superstars. No, at the time, they didn't do it. When Steph Curry won his first championship, no one looked at the 3-headed monster that it became. That was the introduction of the 3-headed monster. So right now, no one's talking about it. But I'll tell you right now, I'll take more players under age of 25 on a Lions roster now all day over what San Fran has. And you know what?
Absolutely.
And these guys aren't scared. They are not scared of you. Brian Branch is not intimidated. All I'm saying, Brown, intimidated?
Yeah.
Good luck with that one. Penil Sewell will fuck you up. He's 23, and he's the toughest motherfucker in the whole damn NFL, and I'll stand by that. No one wants to go one-on-one with that guy. You put that guy, who can take that guy in a cage?
He's honestly like, you look up a road grader, like that's what this guy is.
Imagine you're walking in an alley and you bump shoulders with him.
Oh yeah, no, fuck that. And
even if you were 6'6",
yeah,
I was
listening to a couple of Lions podcasts today, just to kind of transition back to beating the Buccaneers and all of what came with yesterday. What kept being reiterated to me, and at least I think for today, and honestly for the next couple of days, because this is a foreign feeling, right? If you're under the age of basically 40, you've never seen this before.
Mm-mm.
You've genuinely never seen this before. So enjoy this. whatever happens is going to happen Sunday, and I'm certainly confident. But like right now, enjoy this moment of we're in the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
Like 3 years ago, this was a disaster. We didn't know where things were going, and blah blah blah. Like we had just come off the Patricia era, and we had traded Stafford. We didn't know what our future was going to look like. To like fast forward to today, everything that this team has had to overcome and deal with, and now you're here. You're here, like literally from day one, from the press conference to the draft picks and everything in between. Sheila taking over and getting help from some ex-players and like all of that. And here we are now on the second to last Sunday of the NFL season. We're still standing. We're still here with a damn good shot to win this game, which crazy that line is 6.5, 7.5. But once again, we're gonna get into. I want to save a lot of that for Thursday, Friday. Like, just like right now, enjoy this, Lions fans, because we don't get this. We never get this, and this is amazing. That was the greatest. That was the greatest thing I've ever seen from a sports perspective. Like I've never felt that level of like euphoria before.
Dude,
I went ballistic.
Detroit, when they left the stadium, like it was just people hugging and kissing and yelling and the love that the city has for Jared Goff right now.
Oh yeah,
like
the amount of "In Goff We Trust" signs I saw.
Listen, I'm telling you right. I really, really think that he could cement it so like it could change. Right, I'm not saying, but right now he's the face of sports in Detroit. He is the face. And you see Frank Ragnow talk about it and almost cry and say what he means to this team, what he means to him, and how he leads every single day there. Amon, the players root for him. Like everyone here just talking like you're just going to move on. And if he doesn't do this and doesn't do this right, and we got Hendon Hooker waiting here because Hendon Hooker can run and do all this. Dude, this guy leads with example. His teammates love him. Charlie Weiss was talking about him again today on NFL radio. He's just a leader. And these throws, I'm going to tell you this. The way he played that second half,
that's the best half he's ever played in his life.
He looked like Tom Brady. The play just dropping the perfect pass to Ahmad, going over here. Look, that's it. Just Ahmad. No, he was so in control. He knew where he's going with the ball. It didn't matter. You could have a guy get to him in 1.5 seconds. The ball's out in 1.3. Good luck. Like, he had so much confidence in his line. And if San Fran doesn't get to him,
the way he's been able to recover. So the middle of the season, and he did have that one scary throw in the end zone. Thank God they dropped that.
Dropped. Yeah.
But recovered from that. Didn't dwell on that, right? We didn't see too much more of that, right?
Yeah.
So I think he has found a really happy medium of being aggressive, but also taking your sacks, throwing out of bounds. Like when he hit that patch in the middle of the season where he was fumbling like crazy, when he had whatever it was, 10 turnovers in 3-4 games.
Yeah.
When we were most frustrated with him, that's when Jared was just trying to do too much. That he wasn't getting the time in the pocket. He was frustrated, and all of the mistakes were like as he's going down, just trying to give it to someone or just trying to do too much. We've seen in these past 2 games when that pocket collapses, almost similar to what we saw in Eli years and years ago, where like pockets collapsing. All right, fuck it, tuck and drop. And you could bitch about that all you want, but sometimes that's the best thing for you to do. First of all, that's going to prevent you from getting hurt, right? You're almost better off tucking, kind of leaning your shoulder out, taking that hit, whatever, done, and on to the next play. And, when he's got to throw it away, he throws it away. He had a couple throws yesterday that he put it, and they were all incomplete, but put them in a place of either J-Mo was getting it or the sideline was getting it.
Yeah.
Or Josh was getting it. And that's what I want to see. I mean, that touchdown throw to Josh. Did Josh have to extend a little? Yeah, but you know what? Nobody else had a chance at that ball. Only Josh Reynolds did. And that, it's things like that. That's when Jared's playing at a level like this, man, it's tough to stop. And it's even harder to stop when the 5 guys in front of you are not letting anything leak through. And don't get me wrong, there was definitely some pressure yesterday.
Yeah.
There was some pressure,
Had
but
a couple
you see
sacks.
the Lions adjust, right? When that pressure's coming in, you saw the offensive line. I don't know if you noticed this. The offensive line, instead of, I don't know what they usually play at, if it's 2-foot splits or 2.5, they extend a little more and they widen themselves. So now when Jared got the ball in shotgun, he's got a lot more area to play with. Yeah, there's maybe a little more room to leak, but he's got more room to kind of move around. So that second half, that guy was lightning. There was nothing stopping him. Nothing. And once again, when you've got the power of the run game behind you, and like also shout out to Dan Campbell for like whoever had the awareness to grab Craig Reynolds and throw him in there and say, "Hey, go score."
Dude,
on
I was
fourth
screaming.
and goal. On fourth and goal.
I was yelling in my section. I'm like, I don't think we're running it here because Craig Reynolds is in, but I'm like, maybe Dan Campbell is setting this up. And if I'm a defender, if I was a defender for Tampa, I'm like, wait a second. Does this mean they're going to go to Craig Reynolds because they think we're going to throw in this game? There's no fullback. There's no Kabinda. There's no one there to help out. But Craig Reynolds got that ball, man. He was, straight full power.
And they did it right at Vita Vea, right in his face.
Right at him.
Like it's on fourth and goal. Fourth and fucking goal. You go to your third string tight running back. That's insane. Yeah. That's insane. But that's what they do. That's what they do. And like I said, that's and I gotta imagine that was Campbell that threw him in there. That's just awareness because Campbell played this game. Campbell knows how much Craig Reynolds has given up to be in this position. Right? How much he's had to work just to be the third string running back here, and how little credit the guy gets because he doesn't get a lot of opportunities because he's playing behind two studs.
Yeah, he was a great story in Hard Knocks too. You got to know him a little bit there. I think his dad's been in prison. Talks to his dad weekly. I think it was a good story. Listen, it's great. It's great, and like not to like I know we're like not talking all about the Tampa game. Listen. I don't want to break down statistics and showing and all PFF grades. Like there's so much joy to this game. Let's talk about the happy thing.
Listen, that's for Thursday or Friday. Yeah. Right now we enjoy this.
Yes. And going back to like the Lions, like let's just say if this ends with a Super Bowl win, if this ends with a loss this weekend, if it ends with a loss in Super Bowl, whatever it is, like you see the talent on this roster. We have another draft coming up here. Yeah. With all our draft picks, possibly more with depending what happens with Aaron Glenn and a couple of Agnew, and we might get compensation of other picks here. You know, we have Minnesota's picks still coming up in this draft for Hawkinson in the third round. It's like you have options going as a. This is when me and you talk about this year where you're like, do you make that trade at trade deadline? Next year might be that time. You make that trade at trade deadline, and you give some.
Next year will.
Yeah, and if you're not a free agent, if you're not that guy now that's like 28 years old and you're like, fuck, I really want to win a Super Bowl. I may have 2-3 years. I'm willing to take less. I want to come back here. I'm Danielle Hunter, and I want to win a Super Bowl, and I want to come off that end.
We were talking about Detroit. It yesterday on the broadcast. Like, this is now a destination.
It is.
Right? Like, this is a coaching staff. People want to play.
Look at what the players say. They love it here. Players who can't look what CJ Garner said. Yeah, CJ said
the city embraced me. Yeah.
We have a window here. I want to be here. We have this coaching, the people, and all this stuff. Like you want to be here. I always said this about Detroit. What was it saying on the draft in 60 million?
60 million in
cap. Yeah. Now we're gonna have to sign some guys and do so that money will go away quickly. But if for the first year here next, you can actually figure out how to move a lot of that money for the future. Yeah. So they want to go add pieces this year. They could go do it. And not only that, they could probably free up all of Jared Goff's $35 million cap hit this year and get another $30 million. Plus, there's guys that are going to be cut this year that just Romeo probably not coming back. But anyways, they could be so dangerous next year. So dangerous next year. With just weapons, the Deacon, but listen, you got to be careful because you got great chemistry with who you have. And this team will just get better. Every week they get better. San Fran here, you're getting another team that has more confidence. And if you can, San Fran this week, if you get into this game and all of a sudden it's the first quarter and you're down by 7, fuck it, you're losing. I'm telling you, listen, there's something I feel about this team, and I said it. there's something special about these group of guys. I think they know it. The city knows it.
Yeah.
And you feel it. You feel the energy.
I keep saying it every week, and maybe it's because I hope it to be true. At some point, we got to see this guy. I'm really, really hoping maybe we get to see James Houston this week. Maybe.
I think James Houston's back this week. I do.
I really hope so because
I think
Romeo Okwara, you're a really nice guy.
Yeah.
But I can't keep watching you rush the passer on third. Like I just can't keep watching that because it's dead space.
I think James Houston plays this week. I think he was close last week. I think he plays this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And don't get me wrong. I don't think Romeo's totally washed up. I think if Romeo's getting, 15 or 20 snaps a game as opposed to whatever he's getting now, 40, 50, I think you'll see a much better version of him. And that's just because the guy's older. He's getting longer on the tooth. He can't perform the way he could at 26, 25 years old. But I would really, really love to see a pass rush of James Houston and maybe Alex Anzalone coming up the middle and Aiden on the other side. Because, once again, we talk about these double teams that Aiden keeps getting. Like, you see it when this team gets to when this team blitzes a little and Aiden's one-on-one, he could do something with it. Now, I know the one of the sacks he had yesterday was he literally just went unblocked. No one touched him.
It's okay. You still got to get there.
But you still got to get there. You still got to finish. And a lot of these guys finished, man. 4 sacks yesterday. I mean, you'd like to see a little more. We saw, 2 of those sacks. One came from Branch. The other came from Iffy, which that Iffy sack was unbelievable.
I think if he had 1.5 or Branch at 1.5. And then I think Maben had the other half. But it was all started by that other one. Could have been a Hutchinson sack. Hutchinson got him to step up and had his hands on him. He scooted underneath Hutchinson. He almost had him. And then Maben and Brian, I think, were there to clean it up.
And I think you saw it yesterday in Baker's face. Like, he was getting rocked. Mm-hmm. When he was getting hit, he was getting hit by a fucking train.
Dude, Stafford got rocked too. Like, they both got rocked.
Both those guys.
Well, and you know what? It's listen, I don't want to see guys getting hurt. But when the line safeties and linebackers are stepping in and hitting their guys, we've laid out guys right now. Listen, call it what it is. Was Kirby dirty on Hawkinson? Was he dirty on Nagby? Whatever. Yeah. You know what? I don't care right now because if you're catching a ball over the middle and you're a San Fran player right now that's going into this week, you're like, fuck, I better watch out here. Someone coming after me. That's in your head. I used to love when Sue would get a personal foul early in the game because he'd rip a guy's head off. The next thing, it's in your head. Aaron Rodgers hated playing against Sue. Same thing. Guys are for Devin White got blasted. They're blasting guys right now. Blasting. On defense, they're hitting you. They're hitting you hard.
Yeah. I think early in the game, I think that, like, you don't want to see that fourth quarter 2-minute drill. But, first quarter, you know what, man? Like, I'm at a point, fuck the penalties. Fuck it. Yeah. Fuck it. Rock a guy and make them think twice before they throw.
Yeah.
Right? Fuck it. Take the 15-yard penalty. You just don't do it again because then you get kicked.
And they're not getting a ton of penalties. Like, they're showing you, the Lions are showing you, like, they're making you their bitch. Like, we're going to hit you. We're going to be tougher. We're not afraid of you. We're going to throw the first punch, the second punch, the third punch. You better come and be aggressive. They're not afraid of nobody right now. And honestly, everyone's thinking this San Fran is a big and tough team. And I think they got something coming from them. I'm not saying we're going to win for sure, even though that's how I'm feeling we're going to win. And I'm basically just saying that I got a feeling, right? But like, listen, this team is built tough. And they got tough motherfuckers all over the field. And you know what? Even Jared Goff, he's a tough son of a bitch. To go through what he went through, and it starts at the top. It starts with him. It starts with Dan Campbell being laughed at. It's Brad Holmes being laughed at for their picks. It did the whole team mocked, laughed, the city broke, can't afford to turn your lights on. They've embraced it all. All of it. And you know what, San Francisco? They sent a nice little letter out to all their fans today asking their fans to not sell their tickets to Lions fans. Because guess what? Go on Ticketmaster. Their fans are I've never seen so many available tickets. I'm going to show you. Because of this, they've reached out. I'm torn if I should go or not go. It's a long flight. I'll be at the Super Bowl if we win. But no matter what, I fly to Sedona the weekend after on a Sunday. I want to be there so badly, but I just don't think it's a smart decision for me to make. But let me show you this. I'm going to zoom in on their map. I've never seen anything like this. So this
What
is
are
their
they going
map.
for?
This is their map of their stadium. When you zoom in here, the
Yeah.
red tickets are going to be tickets that are being resold by their fans.
Okay. I see a lot
Like,
of blue.
look at this. Look at this.
Oh, that's red. Okay.
That's red. This is
Well,
rows. Look at these front rows. Every seat is open.
What are they going for?
I mean, a lot. But the stadium is 25, 30% of these fans. Look at that.
Yeah.
30% of these fans are saying, you know what? Fuck it. We don't care. We'd rather make $500.
Yeah.
You know,
That's crazy.
to me, this is nuts. I've never seen anything like this. And this is just Ticketmaster. A lot of people post on both, but you can't always post on both. Like there's StubHub. I think 70% of the stadium's up for sale. Now that doesn't mean lying fans. There's gonna be other San Fran fans that don't have seen tickets, buying these tickets, and of course, but like I think you're gonna see a good amount of blue in this stadium. I know a lot of people right now. I've been talking to in California, other places, Denver. They're like, we're fucking going. Because they couldn't make one of the home games here. They're going there because they live on the West Coast.
Right. We'll see, man. We'll see. I'm excited.
Should we
I got
start
to jump off here.
Should we start GoFundMe on our Instagram to send me, you?
I saw a couple of those.
Oh, did you?
But it would have to be a lot, man, because you'd have to fund our flight. You'd have to fund the game tickets. But listen, Pavel, we got anything else, or can we cut it here?
No, we can cut it. I'm good. I'm gonna go. I've been
closing statement. You have a closing statement for Lions fans?
Enjoy this. This is special, and this is. I think this is just the beginning. This doesn't mean every year we'll have the success of going to NFC Championship game. It's a football season. Long things happen, but I think we know we got our coach. We know we got our GM. We know we might probably have our quarterback for the next 6-7 years, and we have so much talent. And this is gonna be a special run. It's gonna be a special run. And we have a great football team, a really good football team, and that's the most important thing. And I'm happy to say that. I thank Sheila. Thank you for everything you've done for the city of Detroit, for the Lions fans, and like some people think it's just football, but I feel blessed for that. I'm blessed to have that.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in, and we are going to go live Thursday or Friday. We have to see availability, but we're going to do a NFC Championship preview, and hopefully we'll have Pat on for that. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you soon.